Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Hello. Hello.
No,
Hi, Francisca. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How was your week?
My week was good. I resume work tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you have to resume work tomorrow.
Yes, I was off for the week vacation.
Oh, for your birthday week. How was it?
It was good. Lisa took me out yesterday to Cheese Factory restaurant. Have you ever been there? Food
No, I
is
haven't.
awesome. Oh my God. They said the wait was an hour 45 minutes.
Hmm.
But they said if you want to eat on the patio, the wait is 10 minutes. We said we'll eat on the patio. It was packed. The food is huge and it's delicious.
Oh, wow.
You should try it out. It's at Yorkdale Mall.
What's it called?
Cheese Factory Restaurant. No,
Uh,
Cheesecake. Cheesecake
cheesecake.
Factory.
They only sell cheesecake or they sell different things as well?
I answered the same thing. No, it's just the name. They sell a
Okay.
food. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
You should try it out one day with your family.
Yeah, I will. I will. Okay. I'll let them know. I'll let them know.
It was
Yeah.
packed full. Packed, jam packed. 1 hour 45 minutes to wait for a seat. Can you imagine?
Wow.
So we chose to sit in the patio.
Okay. Not many people like the patio.
Yeah, because maybe it's a little chilly, but it was okay. It was
Okay.
cool. It was cool. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
So thank you for Saturday. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I had a lot of fun. Definitely a new experience, right? It was a great experience. You know, just going there by the water, by the falls, like you by looking at it's one thing, but actually experiencing it is a different thing, you know.
At one time, I had to go downstairs. It was just blowing in my face. I
I
was
know
losing my
it
balance.
was getting intense. Everyone's
So
getting
I went
blown around.
downstairs. I went downstairs for a while. I didn't want to
Yeah,
be blown away.
I know. That's what's happening with everyone. Hi, Mylin. Oh, she's getting on right now. Mylin and chat are
Oh, by
joining
the
us.
way, I want to share something with you. My fitness trainer, his wife and I share the same birthday.
Oh, nice.
That's weird.
Why is that? Hey, you know, it's good. That means that that day is a special day, right?
She's all the way in India. They're in India. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's in India.
Yeah, they're both in India. I have an app. My job has given us an app that we can use. It has physical fitness, financial literacy, health and wellness, all that. And I use them.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. So, Mylin and chat are here with us as well. Hello. We're gonna get into it. You know, today I wanna go into the law of increase. Right. So, you know, positive vibrations is what we're looking for in the law of increase. Right. Everything in a planet is made of atoms, right? Now it's very interesting. You when you go with theology and science, right? Theology and science always clash because theology says energy is and sorry, theology says God is, right? And then science says energy is, right? But when looking at a universal perspective, then we get to look at both and understand that both are, right? So in other words, God is energy, right? And then when you go in the Bible, they talk about the first pretty much humans on Earth being Adam and Eve, right? But in science, it says that the first thing that started was the atom, right? So it's a play on with words, you know, atom and atom, right? Atoms, everything in the world is made of atoms, right? So everything in this world is energy, right? We have electrons and protons, you know, positive, negative charge, you know, that make everything, right? And electrons and protons are made up of vibration and frequency, right? So the vibration and frequency that they're on is what creates that molecule for it to be what it is, right? So everything's atoms. This microphone's made of atoms. It's just made up of a different vibration and frequency than this phone. So that's why they look different, right? So they look different because of the vibration and frequency that they're on, right? The same thing with us as human beings, right? We're just made up of different vibrations and frequencies, right? But the vibration and frequencies is what makes everything different, right? So in terms of vibration, everyone that's tuned in right now on the GPS is just presently on this frequency right now, right? If not, then they're on a different frequency, but whatever frequency they're on, they're connecting with others that are on that same frequency, right? So that's pretty much what's happening, you know, all throughout our days, our times that we're here, and everything that we're encountering, any a person that we're meeting, any phone call that we're on, you know, it's a basis of what vibration and frequency that we're on, right? And that's what makes things different. That's what connects things, right? That's what molecules are made out of, right? You know, and molecules are a collection of atoms, right? You know, as they come together, they make different molecules, and they make something, right? So science can really break down, you know, everything into molecules, right? If you look at a periodic table, then you see on a periodic table, there's different different types of things on the periodic table that are formed of different atoms and molecules, right? And it's the same, and that's pretty much what's going on, all around the world on different scales. On the minimal scale, large scale, it's a collection of vibration and frequencies. It's like molecules that are forming, and it's energy that's forming. So, right now, that's what's happening right now. This is a molecule that's forming in terms of whoever's on this GPS session, and then whoever it is that watches it at a later date, right? Everything's saved in the MapBook files. But if you're tuning in on this even at a later date, then you're on that frequency and vibration, right? Our brains are transmitters of frequency and receivers of frequency. Right? We have the ability to use our brain and create any frequency we want and transmit it. Right. So, what frequency and what vibration are we on? What was going on in our mind before we even logged in today on the GPS, right? Even earlier in the day, right? What frequencies were you transmitting? And what were you receiving? Right. So that's going on all throughout our days in terms of what we're transmitting. What energy are we putting out there, and what are we receiving? Right. And we have the ability to use our brain to create any frequency we want and transmit it. Right. So the frequency that you want, what frequency that you want, right? And how are you staying there, right? But at the same time, there's other frequencies that can be pulling your attention, right? There's other frequencies that can be pulling your attention. So it's just about more analyzing the frequency that you're on, right? And with us being transmitters of frequency, we can actually feel the vibration that we're on, just by how we're feeling in our bodies, right? We could feel that frequency that we're on, right? So if you want to change that frequency, then you kind of got to go and channel in, a different frequency, right? That's why, say for example, podcasts are good, and some people take in certain audios, and maybe you watch a YouTube video that's on a frequency that you want to be on, or whatever the case may be, right? And just have an understanding of that we are transmitting and receiving frequencies. Then just pay attention to your days and the things that you're doing throughout the day, and what kind of frequencies are you channeling, right? I found myself channeling certain frequencies that I didn't want to be channeling, but I felt it was my duty to do that, because I have to get information for other people, for a specific thing. But then the information, the channel that I'm going through is putting effect on my frequency, So what I found was, just being on that, and the frequency that I was on with that wasn't really the greatest frequency, but because I had an obligation to translate information, I had to be tuned in. But I caught myself, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I see this is not putting me in the right frequency. So then, yeah, I started taking in some podcasts, some certain audios, to channel me in on the right frequency. Right. And then once I did that, then I started noticing the molecules that was forming, was more in channel with the frequency that I wanted to attend to. Right. I was getting calls, I was getting just people messaging me. I would say, like, yeah, this past week I got like so many calls from, like, even in real estate. That's like every day I got someone calling me about something, right? The previous week I didn't get many, but what I was channeling in on, it was kind of bringing my frequency down, right? So noticing this, and then channeling in on the right frequency is very important, so that you can continue to get that positive vibration, because that positive vibration is you know, what we're drawing ourselves to, where we're moving towards all the time too, right? Because life is a journey, right? And you know, in life, you go through ups and downs, right? You go through challenges, you go through uh you go through really great moments, right? And you go to some moments that, you know, you're not really, you know, as happy about. But when you look at the full picture, right? And the big picture, you know, everything's part of everything. You know, it's like all what one big thing, right? And you know, all of that's there to really shape you up to who you are to be, you know, and who you're to become. You know, that new chapter in your life, you know, how are you gonna go about being in that chapter, being in that space where you are that new person who you say you are, right? And you want to be, right? Sometimes you can't be that new person unless you go through certain challenges to make you that new person. But really tuning in and understanding that you want to be on that a certain frequency is important. So, you know, really tap into, you know, your feelings. How are you feeling? What are you thinking about? Right? And if what you're thinking about is putting you on a frequency of lack, or it's putting you on a frequency of, you know, where you're in a reaction mode and reacting on things, then it's important to go and channel yourself in on what it is that you want to be doing, right? And it's something as simple as, say for example, if you're channeling in on something that is not on a good vibration, and then you're going out, let's say you're meeting with people, and then other people are just making you feel away for some reason, you know, realize that, oh, okay, the frequency that you're on, you know, what are you tuning into, right? But if you're tuning into good stuff, some positive stuff, even you're meeting with people that you know can raise your vibration level, right? And you're doing those things, right? Then you'll realize that even from there, your conversations and everything with people will be on a positive vibration, because that's the frequency that you're channeling, right? Right. So you know, just to give a clear perspective in terms of frequencies, right? You know, so we are transmitters, right? We are transmitting, right? But there's transmitters all throughout this world, and each transmitter obviously has, you know, a different level of frequency, right? And you know, they have senders and receivers, right, for you to channel in. Francisco, when I went to Niagara Falls a few days ago, with Francisco, we went on the boat, and it's interesting because we were on the boat, and then when I got off, I noticed that on my phone it says "Welcome to the U.S." It said "Welcome to the United States," where your calls are now roaming. This is this. I didn't notice when I was on, but after I noticed that, I tapped into that frequency, because for I guess a short moment of time I was in the U.S., right? You know, it's just a channeling of a frequency, right? And you know, that's pretty much what's happening with us all the time. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're channeling into another frequency, right? So that's why paying attention to our emotions, our feelings are very important. And then after, let's pay attention to, you know, our day and what we're tuning into, right? Because on the cell phone, they have the receivers, right? We have receivers in outer space. You know, you see all those towers when you drive around, you see those towers that are receiving those, and then you know, radio receivers. You know, right now my computer is on it's connected to Wi-Fi, so it has a receiver from my computer to the Wi-Fi connection, right? So these frequencies, we don't see them, but they're there, right? We don't see them, but they're there, right? So with that being said, that means that as we transmit frequencies, you know, and we're transmitting them outside and receiving them, just because we don't see them, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. We know it's there because we see these physical things in our world where we're not seeing the transmitters or frequency of them, but we know there are transmitters and frequencies, because we're using our phone and we're connecting, right? You're using, you know, you're on in your car, you may be on a radio, right? You're connecting. So the same thing with each other, you know, and everyone in this world, as a matter of fact, because our bodies are more powerful than all of these frequencies, these transmitters that are in space, these towers that are up, all of these things that transmit frequencies. Our physical being is the ultimate transmitter, right? You could feel someone that's across the world, right? They could be channeled in, right? I don't know if this, I'm sure this has happened to someone where you've been thinking about someone or something like that, and then they may call you or they may text you, or you know, they may just reach out to you before you actually reach out to them physically, but in spirit, you have reached out to them. You have channeled that frequency. You connected with them in spirit, right? And then like, oh wow, you're gonna live long. I was just talking about you. I was just thinking about you, right? But that's the frequency that you channeled out and they channeled in. Francisca says that's ESP. Do you wanna elaborate, Francisca? You wanna expand on that?
ESP stands for extrasensory perception. There's sometimes you could be thinking of somebody and then the person rings and the person calls you. It means that you are on the same frequency. You're on the same vibration. As a matter of fact, my sister and her husband, one day they were sitting and watching John Elton, and they were both thinking at the same time, that is a nice CD to buy my spouse for Christmas. So at Christmas time, when they opened up their gift, they both said, I bought you the same gift. How frequently does a husband and wife buy each other the same gift? My late mother used to say that they are so in tune with each other that it is as if they are a match from heaven. Yeah, so that's what they call ESP, extrasensory perception.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. You know, it's happened all the time, you know, and even with that, it's so interesting because even today I went to church, right? And when I went to church, I seen one of our fellow wealth creators, Christina Rocco, right? Christina and Mike Rocco, you know, they were there, you know, and we connected, we talked, and then Christina's like, oh wow, this is interesting, because she put together a mastermind. Jackie's on here. Jackie's part of that mastermind, right? And I am as well. And she's like, oh, it's very interesting. Everyone from the mastermind this week I connected with, like I seen in person. That's what she said. Every single person that is in a mastermind I seen in person. I seen Jackie earlier this week. I seen this person, and now I'm seeing you. You know, and that must mean that we're on a frequency. We're calling each other. We're calling each other in spirit, you know, which is why we all just connected. And inside of her heart,
You know what's funny, Rich?
Go ahead.
Sorry, what's funny is that I was just talking to her the other day and she was like, we need to get together with Rich. We got to set up a meeting or something. I want to hang out with him, all three of us soon.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you just bumped into her at church. That's crazy.
Yo, it was serious, you know. But that's what I'm saying. So now, when these things happen, you know, then we really got to understand, like, okay, we are number one, we are all one and the same. You know, on a higher perspective, we all are channeled with each other, and we're on, in terms of frequency, we're calling each other in spirit all the time, right? Everyone that's on here right now has been called and through spiritually, and we all came here to meet because we're all on a similar frequency, you know. In terms of what that frequency is, you know, we don't know. It could be on a session. Maybe this GPS session is something that we all needed to take with us for the week, right? It could be that maybe we just need to hear each other's voices. You know, whatever our takeaways are, there's reasons for everything that we're encountering in this world, right? And when things like that happen, like even when meeting with Christina and then her saying that, and all things, all the time, I see as a form of alignment. I see as, it just lets us know that God is in control. Like there's something bigger than us that's happening. There's something bigger than us that's happening, right? And making things happen, right? So as we go along, in this life experience, the more we recognize that, then the more purposeful we'll be living, that we'll be living on a higher frequency, and what I mean by that is there's a process of evolution, right? There's a process of evolution, right? And we were put here, to have dominion of this land. That's why God made us superior. Like certain animals may be stronger than us, but they may not be as smart as us. They may not have the intelligence as us. So we could outmaneuver them because of our intelligence, right? Last week, I took my kids to, or my family, me and my wife, we took our kids to African lion safari, right? And it was very interesting because when you go in, right, and you're going on the tour and you're driving through, right, the first thing that they let you see are the lions, right? The lions. But before that, they let you see cheetahs, right? And what was interesting with the cheetahs was they were in a space that's like smaller than a basketball court, right? But we all know that cheetahs love to run, right? Cheetahs love to run. So why? And then my kid's like, Dad, why are they in such a small space? Right? And I'm like, I don't know. But I think they're in that space because if they were in a big space, the people won't be able to catch them. They're too fast. Right? So they had to put them in a smaller space so that they could be able to catch them. So in terms of man, I guess we have that intelligence in terms of, okay, we understand that they're faster than us, so we have to put them in this space, right? Not only that, but they separated them from the lions, right? The lions had a little more space, right? But then they separated the lions from the baboons and the giraffes, like they separated all of these animals, but some of them were intermingling, right? But the ones that were on the same frequency, right? The ones that were vegetarian, where they eat grass and stuff like that, they were all able to mix and mingle with each other, right? But the lions stay with the lions. And not only that though, but there were the regular lions and then there were the albino lions, and they even separated them too. Right? So it's like every different section, it was like of animals of different frequency, right? And this is goes on with everything, but we have the dominion over these animals because of our intellect, and our intellect continues to grow, right? But as we're out here, are we really feeling like, oh, I'm purposeful, like I'm here for a reason? And even if you don't know what that reason is, you're here to experience it. You're here to experience it and become that person that you're looking to become. I think someone wants to say something. I thought I heard someone. But that's very powerful for us to know, right? Because if we understand this, right, then are we connecting as often? Right? Are we connected in a sense that, yeah, I have a mission, I have purpose, I have to go and do this because it's I'm required, like this is what I'm being told to do, right? And everyone that's on here right now, that's I would say that you are following your spirit in a sense, because why did you tune in? Right? Why did you tune in? You were called to tune in and you came on and you tuned in, right? Because everyone could get that call, and we all have, God gave us that ability to have choice, right? And the more we follow God's direction, then the more we know that we're tapped in, the more alignment that we feel, the more that when we see things happening that are like weird, or in a sense we would say they're weird, because it's like, oh wow, I was just thinking about you and I met you and I was thinking about you, called me and all this stuff. Instead of us seeing it as weird and us seeing it as alignment and things that we're supposed to be doing, right? Then we know that we're tapped in, right? Then as we know we're tapped in, we can continue to do that, and we can continue to be guided, right? Because if you're trying to guide yourself, and there's a lot of it's like a puzzle, it's like a maze, right? And sometimes you get stuck in that maze and you don't know where to go next, right? And regardless if you think you have all the answers or not, eventually you realize that you don't, right? So we have to have that calling where we could really channel in and tap in to where God's given us that direction. We're tapping into the inside of us, our spirit, for guidance, for direction, for signs, signs that, okay, you're moving in the right direction, right? The frequency levels that our brain are more powerful than all other transmitters. Our brain virtually transmits all over the globe and beyond, and matching frequencies that are picked up by other brains. The same power is distributed regardless of the distance. So anywhere in this world, we could transmit these frequencies throughout this whole world. And the power it's not less if you're on one side of the world or not. Because look at the universe. The universe is never ending, right? It's the omnipotent, right? It's all it keeps expanding, right? So if we're only thinking on a basis of Earth, then we're really limited, because it goes beyond that. It goes beyond the Earth, right? Infinite intelligence is beyond Earth, right? Infinite intelligence, it has to be, because we need the things outside of Earth in order to survive. So then we cannot just be limited to Earth, where we are right now, right? We need the sun to survive. We need the other planets to survive, right? We like all these things we need our moon to survive. So then we cannot be thinking on a limited thing. And that's why our power is distributed regardless of distance, because look how massive this universe is. Our energy levels are determined upon what we tune into. As we operate through the physical world, we will encounter many things looking to match our vibratory state. Although it is us who will be determined which energy state we would like to be in. Right? Everything is. We determine how we would like to react to it. Right? So if a situation is going how we don't want it to be going, right? We could try to have the control to whatever extent we can, but we don't have control over it, because it is what it is, right? But how will we react to it? How do we react to that thing, right? And this is a big part of our growth, right? Because how we react to it is what's going to put us in a state of well-being, right? Because if things are not going your way and you want to be in control of the situation, and it's still not going your way, and you're still trying to be in control of it, it could really get to you, right? But if it is what it is, right, and you analyze it, you could try your best to try to put things together, however the case may be. But if you have no control over it, then the only thing you can do is let time pass. That's the only thing you can do, let time pass, right? And when you let time pass, then you tune into that frequency that you want to be on, that vibratory state that you're looking to be on. And as the time passes, then, you'll really get, what you were looking for on the other side of that. Sometimes, you'll go through something which is a learning experience. It's a stepping stone. It's something that you needed to do in order to know how to move better or know how to do things better. You needed that thing, right? So everything we determine how we like to react to it. Why did it happen? We could ask all these questions. Why did this happen? Like you could say all these things, right? And you can analyze them, but you can know that, hey, this happened for the betterment. There's something good. There's something good about this. I may not know now, but I believe that I'm being guided the right way. And as time passes, I'll realize what was the benefit of this, what I learned from it, or whatever the case may be, right? Because we get to choose how we respond to all things, right? Because everything is, right? We could be on this GPS session, right? And some people could choose that GPS is a waste of time, right? Some people could think, GPS, that's a waste of time. I'm not tuning into that, right? Some people could feel it's valuable. The GPS session, it just is what it is, right? We could choose whether it's positive or a negative thing, right? Some of us are on here frequently, so maybe we feel it's a positive. Some people are not on, maybe they feel it's a negative, right? But it is what it is, right? Even from the perspective of the people that are on here, I could view it as a positive or a negative. I choose to view it as a positive, right? Everyone that comes on, I'm grateful, that that the people would come out, take the time in to contribute to the session, right? Or I could choose to see it as, oh, you know what? This is a waste of time. This information is good information, but not everyone wants to learn this information. So why should I talk about it? Right? So we all choose how we respond to every situation. Right? Maybe your phone's not working. Your phone stopped working. Right? And you put, oh man, my phone's not working. Can't believe this. Right? And you could be distraught, you could be just in panic mode, you could be like, oh, like everything's over because your phone's not working, right? You could choose to respond that way. Or you could be like, oh, you know what? I've been on my phone so much, maybe this is a sign that I just need to have a break from my phone. Right? You could go buy your new phone tomorrow or the next week or whatever the case may be, but at that time, maybe that phone you see as a positive, like, you know what? I needed a break from my phone. I'm tired of getting calls and calling people for a minute. Maybe I just need some time to myself. Right? So every situation that happens is, right? We choose how we respond to the situation. Does anyone want to give any example of this? Well, Ian, you're with us. Ian.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man.
How are you? It's been a minute.
I know. Good to hear from you, man.
It's funny you said what you were saying, because I literally felt the same way. Like, I literally was there. I went to the gym today. And then after that, I was looking at the time and I was like, I gotta, I don't know why. I was like, I gotta tune into the GPS. I wasn't done my workout. I just left to come upstairs so I can tune in, because I haven't done this in a minute. Like, I haven't sat down on a Sunday and actually done like what I usually used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm here now. Not the same man, a different man, all grown up. Got a fiance now.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. So, yeah, but it's definitely one of those things. I think that's one of the most important things, like how we choose to respond. I always run into situations where I have a friend of mine that Sebastian, and whenever I would hang out with Sebastian, Sebastian's a very positive person. Sometimes like this is like maybe a few years ago when we were in college, but every time like I used to get a call that was private or blocked, I would ignore it. I would choose to ignore it. It's like a learned trait, you know. Like I remember my dad will get private calls or block calls, and the response is like, "Oh, don't answer that. You don't know who it is," right? So I would choose to ignore it. But I remember I used to was sitting there, and then me and Sebastian were chilling. My phone was ringing, and I seen it was private. I was like, "Oh, it's private. I'm not gonna answer that." Sebastian looked at me and said, "Why?" I said, "I don't know, because I don't know who it is." He's like, "Yeah, but it could be a blessing in disguise." See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I was chose, like I was socialized to look at private calls or block calls as something negative.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me to think, oh, it could be a blessing. It could be a curse, but it could be a blessing.
Yeah.
But I never stopped to think that it could be a blessing. So because of that one experience, now it's like if I get calls that are blocked, I tend to like try to answer them. I'll try to like figure out how to get some way to unblock it. I have this like tool on my phone, an app that'll let me kind of figure out where the call's coming from.
Okay.
Right? So like that's one way where like you choose to respond to a situation positively. And there's been a lot of times where I've answered that private phone call and it's literally just been like a new client or a new customer.
Yeah.
Right. And every time it happens, I always think about my like, oh, thank God I learned this habit. Because sometimes I could be I could, it's not like, you could check your message and get back to the person after, but it's overcoming that idea that like every time you get a call that might not show displays, it's a negative thing. Right? It could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's big. Thank you for sharing that, man.
No problem, bro.
Hilda. Mylin. Cat.
I'll say something.
Thank you,
Nobody wants.
Francisca.
Yeah, I want to share something. My friend was supposed to take me out the other day, and then she canceled. I said, okay. Then she canceled again the second time. And I said, this is not good. And some people will respond negatively, or they'll block her, or they'll say, I'm not going to talk to her again. But I've been told that I am too disciplined, that you got to let it go, that not everybody is so disciplined like you. Sometimes you got to take a deep breath, okay? You are very disciplined because of your personality and your upbringing. Everybody is not like you. So chill out. So I said, okay, I'll give her a chance. Then the third time she finally made it. And we went
Nice.
to a nice restaurant. So had I canceled now, had I said, okay, I don't want to deal with her again, because there are some women, they're very finicky. If that happens, they'll say, I don't want to talk to her again. I don't want to have anything to do with her. But I gave her a second chance, and we went to a beautiful restaurant called the what was it? The Cheese Factory. I just told you,
Cheese
Richard, what's the
Factory.
name? Yes, Cheese Factory Restaurant. It's such a good restaurant that the wait was 1 hour 45 minutes. But we're not going to wait that long. They said, if you don't want to wait, we have the patio open in 5 minutes time. And the food was so big and delicious. So I
Wow.
turned something negative into something positive. Then she shared me how somebody introduced her to an Indian man who is very, very wealthy. And she jokingly said to him, oh, can you loan me $100,000? And he said, yes, you can pay me back in 6 months' time, no interest. And she said,
Wow.
I'm just joking. He said, no, you asked, I wanted to give you. So I told her that,
Wow.
why didn't you take it? She said she was just joking, just to test the man. He's filthy rich. And
Wow.
she was telling me how he bought he told his
Mm.
children, I'm gonna buy you each a car cash, $45,000. And then the daughter says, why don't you buy me a Lamborghini? He said, you either take the 45,000 or you buy the car yourself. And I think that was good. So she was telling me how the guy is strict, he has money and blah, blah. So it was a good experience because she drove to the
Nice.
restaurant. So had I canceled because she canceled twice on me, I would have missed out from this good conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And then also Ian, I think Ian has something to add. Go ahead, go on, Ian.
Oh yeah, sure. I can add some. This is actually a story that happened to you, Rich. Whenever I think of how we choose to respond, there's the one story that sticks out to me. There was actually two of them that you've mentioned in past GPSs, and they're always in my mind. But there was one. Remember the time when you took the boys tobogganing?
Yeah.
And then the toboggan flipped
over. Yeah.
And I remember I was just paying attention to when you came in, just your demeanor and the way you told that story. But the thing that stuck out to me is that the only thing that you had said was, "Oh, I thank God that I was able to, none of the kids got hurt."
Yeah.
I was so grateful for this. And I was sitting listening to the story and I was like, oh man, like I know my response, I probably would have been frustrated, pissed off, probably been walking around the house like a grandpa, like, oh, I'm in pain, I got hurt. But the only thing you could say is that you thank God.
Yeah.
And that you're grateful and you express the gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time you taught that lesson with, it was another time when I think you were driving your car and you're going to a showing and like you had some issues with a tire and I think you had forgotten your wallet or something like that. And it's like, you were grateful because as opposed to being frustrated, and you actually were grateful because you I think your car broke down somewhere that wasn't that far from a mechanic shop that you were able to get there, no problem. But you still took the situation, but you chose to express the gratitude instead of expressing the frustration. That's what stuck out to me. It was the same situation, and I was listening to it and I could resonate. I'm like, if I was in that situation, what would I have expressed, or what would I have chosen to express? And I would have chosen to express, oh man, had such a bad day. My car broke down. Now I got to pay $200 to get my tire fixed. But it's kind of like what you said. Like, people can look at the GPS in a positive light. They can look at it in a negative light. But the GPS is the GPS. Like the car breaking down is the car breaking down. But what you choose to amplify is what you're gonna attract. So I always, those are lessons that you've given me that I don't know if you've ever realized, because I really take it in. Like, it's those are very, very proper things. So like, even when I go through certain situations in life and I catch myself too, I always try to refocus
those,
myself.
right?
Yeah,
definitely. I'm sure everyone has some, right? And I'm glad that you said that too, because us recalling these past instances that happen, they kind of prepare us for the present, right? When something's happening in the present moment, you're right, you could just go back and recall this situation, like even real estate. And like when you're talking about the thing, I think you're talking, because I had a lot of instances on the road, you know what I mean? But when I was going for my real estate license, I remember I had one of the I think it was one of my final courses. Then you have to go in class for like 2 weeks or something like that. And then one time was like a snowstorm. It was like a blizzard, and I had a test to pass this thing. And I was driving, and I was in snow. I was in the snow, and after I remember I was driving and I was headed to my appointment. I was kind of late, so I think I was speeding a little bit, right? But then I was driving, and then I pressed my brakes, and my car was sliding, and then I was about to rear end the guy. Like I was so close. So I'm honking, and then he drives up. Like the last second, like I'm sliding above them. I'm like, holy, if this happened, like if I hit this guy, I'm missing this test. I'm not gonna pass. I'm not getting my license, whatever the case may be, right? I'm honking him. I'm sliding. Last second, this guy drives up. He drives up, and after I never hit him, I was like, holy. And I was so grateful. So I pulled up beside him, and then he's ready to like, all right, road rage. He thought it was a road rage incident, where I was gonna go and curse at him or whatever. But I'm looking at it and I'm giving like prayer hands. I'm like, yo, thank you, man. You know what I mean? I'm like, thank you so much. Like, and after when he see me, he smiled and he gave me like a thumbs up, At first he had like a mean mug face, like, because he thought I was coming to like go at him. But I was just so grateful because he moved up at the last second. But then stuff like that goes back to alignment, you know what I mean? So from then I knew, okay, God wants me to get this license. Because if God didn't want me to get it, I would have hit the guy. You know what I mean? So it just gave me an extra boost, to pursue what I was doing, because this is part of my path. This is part of my journey that I gotta go on. I'm gonna get this license. So then I knew I was gonna get my license because of that incident. You know what I mean? But another thing I want to really bring up too is I had a listing appointment earlier this week, and I was like, we had an appointment, but then we're just talking, we're just conversating, and the person was there, and they're like, oh, they're talking about Instagram, and they're like, oh, us that people, we need to work more together, and it's something simple, just liking someone's post is so simple, if you like it. If you, but people go and they look at your post and they don't like it. And I know Rick Ross had a little thing that went viral as well. And he was talking about, oh, like your post. You got to like the post, right? But this person, they were talking about, us not liking the post. And then I remember someone else mentioned this to me too, about liking the post, family. I remember I said, oh, I post 1 2s and you guys don't like it. You guys are not supporting my thing. This is this. Right. But then even with my post, and this is something that goes back to this choose how you respond, right? I'll put a post. I don't get much likes on my posts, right? But one thing I realize is that when I go certain places and I'm connect with people, and I go, yo, I see your post. I see the post. I see the stuff you're doing. Oh, I see it. Oh, yeah. And yo, let's connect. Let's do this. Like, in person, people are liking it. Maybe they don't have the time to go and press that like button, but I'm seeing people on the outside are liking it. I don't know if that makes sense. Even though they don't physically press that like button, the fact that I have the presence is out there, and I'm trying my best to provide value, right? When I'm meeting people in person, they're like, oh, yeah, yo, I'm catching a post. I'm seeing the post. I see what you're doing. That's proper. Like, keep it up. Even though they never press like once, in person, I see them and they're good. And even I have a client right now for real estate. I'm going to help find a property to buy. And he's on my social platform. He's never liked the post once. But when it was time for him to buy a house, he linked me. You get what I'm saying? So what I was sharing with this girl is like, yo, keep posting. Keep posting, because even though you're posting, you're not gonna likes, it doesn't mean people don't like it. People like it. They're seeing what you're doing and they like it. It's just maybe they don't have the time to press that like button. But
we can't hear you.
You hit the mute button, not the like button.
I don't know where I stopped talking, but that was a good play on. But you see, that was good. I like that. Right? Right? And Hilda said, yes, makes sense. People are always watching. It's true. People are always watching, but not everyone's going to be able to like every single thing you're doing. But they're watching what you're doing. They're seeing what you're doing. And they may reach out to you, give you some business. What's more important, the pressing a like button or them calling you for business? You know what I'm saying? So again, that's how you choose how you respond, right? It's okay if they don't like it. If you're putting out content, people are going through it and they're seeing it, and then you see them in person and they're telling you, oh, yo, I like the stuff you're doing. That's a like. you know. So, but you know, many people will get discouraged if you're posting stuff and people are not liking. So, like, even moving forward, if you're posting stuff, Francisca, I think I even mentioned this to you too, right?
Yeah.
Francisca, I don't know if you mind me sharing, but she mentioned because it was her birthday the other day, right?
No,
And
no,
she said,
no, no, no.
"No,
No,
I'm gonna share it though, because at the
no,
same time we have to be a form of expression."
no,
And she
no.
said,
Don't
"Oh,
shit.
I know
Don't.
I'm sharing it."
Richard,
So
no.
she said, "Oh, I noticed not many people wish me a happy birthday." I'm like, Francisco, don't worry. Like your blessings are there. You're good. You're gonna get happy birthday. And then after, I don't know if you've seen Francisca, but
Yeah.
even later that day, Hilda said happy birthday. Ian said happy birthday. Did you notice?
Yes, I did.
You see
That is
that?
hilarious. Cause I honestly, that now that you're mentioning, I remember going and I seen it. And it just clicked to me just to say it randomly.
You see that? But Francisca needed that. You get what I'm saying? She needed that because she felt like no one was just saying happy birthday just out of whatever reason, but it's not even that. Look, out of just Ian just had the urge to say happy birthday, and same with Hilda said happy birthday, and I seen a few other people saying happy birthday, right? But that just goes again to everything is, you know, you choose how you respond to situations. You get what I'm saying? The fact that it's your birthday alone is a blessing. You get what I'm saying? Of course, hearing happy birthday from others, it's so much, it feels so much better. But no one said anything to Ian, no one said anything to Hilda, right? And you know, like the happy birthdays came pouring in. You know,
I just wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Hilda.
Yeah, that day was funny, but I was just on my Instagram, so like everything happens for a reason. So I was just flipping. I think I was on break or something. I don't know. And then I ended up like I always like or like try to comment if I can, if I, you know, because I've been in a position where I felt like I didn't have the support when I was doing my makeup business.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go online all the time. And at first I didn't care. Like, I don't know, like I never had that care in my life, like, oh, if anyone's watching or anything like that. And then for some reason it started getting to me. Like, I don't know if it was because of how social media is or how people always expose themselves of, you know, likes and this and this. And then it started getting to me. And I was like, okay, I'm going live. No one's like, and people would come on. And that was like the worst feeling for me, that they would come on, you know me, so why aren't you saying hi? It was just the weirdest thing for me. And so over time, because I thought that it's the way obviously I responded was like, okay, these people are weird. I don't understand. Like when I go on people's lives, I'm always engaging. I say hello. Like, why am I not getting that reciprocal, you know, reaction? So after a period of time, I just started getting annoyed. And then I got so annoyed to the point where I just started fading off of like doing my lives, right? So I actually allowed that to affect my performance, my abilities to showcase my skills, and just being out there. Like from the time I stopped going live, like not that it's hard for me, but I just don't feel as comfortable as I used to. Because I used to just go live. I didn't care. Didn't matter, like any day, anytime. And I'll be talking. I watch my videos now and I'm like, damn, girl, I used to just go on and talk and it used to just come out. Like, you know what I mean? And so it made me feel like I wasn't being supported, although people were on. And I would even say in my lives, because it got to a point where I got frustrated, and I would say in my lives, if you're on, I don't bite, you can say hi, like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And anyways, sometimes people would say something and sometimes people won't. So for a while, I didn't go on on Facebook. I didn't go live or whatever. And I had a friend actually reach out to me this year, and he was like, hey, first of all, he's like, I just wanted to know if you're still alive. I used to always go on Facebook, so I disappeared, and so he was just like, I was just checking up on you, seeing if you're still alive. And I go, yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm chilling. I'm doing my thing. But I get it. Like I was telling you in the text, in the message, in the notes there, like people are watching you, although they don't 100% give you that, like sort of like that affirmation right there and then, or make it feel like you know, they're in support. Like you said, there's so many things going on. People are busy. So it could be more like they got distracted, or like, you know what I mean? So, but I'm always for people that encourage, because I do it. So I feel like if I do it, then it should come back to me. That's what I feel personally. And then I have one more story recently happened to me where I've mentioned this before, and it's just something that just frustrates me about if I'm opening a door for someone. I know I'm not supposed to expect a thank you or anything like that. But this time it wasn't that type of story. It was more like the person knew that I was behind them, and I had bags and a load of stuff in my hands, and they were just so, I don't know, man. Some people are just so wicked and he just literally opened the door enough for himself, knowing that I was behind him. And so the Malton in me had to come out. And I was like, listen, okay. At first I wasn't going to say anything. Like, I literally was fighting with my thoughts at that moment. And I was like, should I say something? Should I not say something? Who cares, Hilda? It's okay. You got this. But then I was like, no, man. He's got to know he's freaking wrong. So I go, listen, I'm like, why aren't you? I'm like, you know, I'm behind you, right? He goes, yep. I go, oh, okay.
He said that for real. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said that for real. And that's when I knew this guy is a miserable mother beep, and he needs God to bless him with the Holy Spirit, because something's wrong with this guy. And so when we were going back and forth, and then I was like, so you know that I was behind you with a whole bunch of stuff and you didn't open? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's on some different tip. And so finally he was actually going the same way as me. So these are 3 doors, all 3 doors. He made sure he opened it wide enough just for himself. And then finally, I just, of course, just got to a point where I was just like, you know what, screw this guy. And I did kind of, you know, say one, 2 cuss words. And I went into my house and I was like, well, screw you. And I actually said, God bless you, because you need it in the end. And that just kind of put the cherry on top, because I was like, you know what, sometimes you don't want to react with that like harshness, you know what I mean? So instead, let me just cover up with a little bit of sweetness. God bless you. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, whatever, man.
Wow.
Bye. So that was my little story. I was driving earlier, so I couldn't like tap in when you called my name, so.
No, I appreciate you saying that, right? And that goes back to the frequencies that we're on, right? Like, that really goes back to this, like, you know, there's different planes, like there's different levels that we're all on. You know, I was talking about the African lion safari, right? Because the animals, they're on a lower frequency, right? Because, you know, they just do what they do. You know, like when you go there, obviously they're not in their natural habitat, first off, but when they are, you know, they're just there, and they're, you know, eating their grass, running around, doing a thing. They're not thinking about no goals. They're not thinking about, you know what I mean, like the house they want, or, you know, the place they want to travel to, or nothing like that, right? They're just more in survival mode, you know, on a lower plane, where it's like, but they are important in this world, because they're here. You know, everything in this world is here for a reason, so they do have importance. And also, they're very significant as well for us to reflect and understand, you know, the level that we're on, right? And even with us, we have different levels that we're increasing our frequency on, right? Like, when I was younger, I'm not the same person that I am now, right? There's certain things that I've learned at a younger age that I did not know now, you know, and now I know, right? So there's that guy is on a lower frequency, right? And by you given that, he left with an experience, you know what I mean? Maybe something may happen where he's in a situation where he needs help and it doesn't happen, right? And then it will click in for him to grow to that next being that he needs to be, evolve into that next being that he needs to be, right? So we all have these moments in our life which are there to help us grow and become grow as a being, right? We're there to grow as a being, right? Like, even, for example, I have a friend of mine, right? And I was at, this is like 2 years ago or whatever, but we were at a wedding, right? My next boy got married. And then when my next boy got married, I hailed him like, yeah, welcome to the club. You already know. I'm hailing him. And then my next boy, him and another guy, they're like, nah, we're on the, look at you guys are tied up, like, we're in that game, we're in the game. Like, that was me years ago. I was in the game, but I don't want to be in that game anymore. You get what I'm saying? And I'm trying to show these guys, like, listen, like, like you think we're out the game, but when you're married, there's a lot that comes with it. It's like a next level. Like it's blessed. Nah, you're tied down with one girl. Nah, what are you talking about? Like, and to them, they're cool. To them, they were like, hailing each other, like they're cool, right? But then I'm like, okay, I'm trying to show you guys what's going on, but they're not taking me in, right? And the reason why is because they haven't gotten to that next level yet until now, right? So now, which is 2 years later, pardon? I don't know where they're not here. Check. They're downstairs, check. Yeah, so now the guy who I was talking to, I talked to him, was like, yeah, I found the one, I'm like, okay, so now he's committed. And hey, who knows? Maybe a wedding may come soon. But 2 years ago, he wasn't there. And I was trying to show him, turn off the light. He just turned it on. Yeah, right. So right, close the door. Thank you. Close the door. Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah. So now he's at that level, right? So it's the same thing with like the guy holding the door, right? He's not at a certain level that you're at right now, and he doesn't fully comprehend why it's important to hold the door for you. He doesn't understand the importance of service, and his contribution to this world, right? He doesn't understand that yet, but maybe next year or the year after he will, right? And I think this is something that's really, really important, especially with the Create Wealth Network, is, that's pretty much what this network's about. We just want to keep elevating our frequency and be at a higher frequency and, expressing this to others around us, right? So that at least they get these little pieces, so for you checking that guy, that's exactly what you should do, right? It's exactly what you should do, because at the end of the day, you're giving them insight. It's just like me telling the guys, like, yo, guys, trust me, the marriage life is blessed, right? And like, nah, what are you talking about? But now, 2 years later, he's telling me, yeah, I found the one. I'm married. Well, he didn't say he's getting married, but he said he's locked in. So I'm hoping the next step is that, yeah, he proposes. Shout out to Ian, as Ian is engaged man, and he's gonna be getting married. By the way, it's not Ian that I was talking about. Ian been locked in. This is someone else. Ian's been locked in. But this is someone else, right? But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, Ian, I don't know, like, because you're engaged now. I don't know. Maybe you want to talk about that. Maybe you want to talk about just the different levels in terms of, like, you even getting to that point of saying, yeah, I want to commit.
Yeah, no, I can definitely share. The different levels. Oh, wow. Yeah, Rich, you've been there. You've been there through it all, so
Yeah.
But there's. I think I'll leave with this. Is that it's definitely something that requires a lot of introspection. Like, you have to really look inside to really, because when you're dealing with making that decision to select a partner, there's a lot of things that can happen that are going to test your patience, that are going to test your ability to think positively in situations, that are going to really like challenge a lot of values that we kind of uphold, especially in the Create Wealth Network, or like being able to respond to something positively. Like, there's been times where like I've even had like some, like maybe Abby's done something that in her mind it was positive, and my mind might have looked at it in a negative way, and I responded negatively, and it made the situation negatively when it never meant to be that to begin with. So, I think definitely, yeah, like just getting to that stage required me to go through a lot of like asking questions of myself and making sure that I was ready to do it for reasons that were intrinsic to me, and how that would align with the person that I decided to move forward with. I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, it's deep. It's deep. It's deep. I just want to, it's just everything intertwines with each other. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that you're at that phase right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're at that phase where you made a commitment, and that's a big commitment, right? And that commitment, although in this case it's okay, marriage, but we have these commitments that we go through all the time in all parts of our lives, and it does make us have to adapt. You got like there's different things that you have to go through to know whether it's the right thing to do. Like all this kind of like a lot of processing that's going on. You know what I mean? But it ultimately comes down to the feeling. Like how you feel, the vibration that you're on, the frequency that you're on, and if you're connecting on that level. Do you get what I'm saying? So, so what you said is real. Is real.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, for sure. So yeah, like that's one of the main things that I really wanted to go over today, because there's a lot going on right now, man. Like even right now, in real estate, I've been meeting with, some clients, and like right now with the interest rates changing, and people having to pay a few extra $1,000 a month, a lot of people are going through a lot of emotions, right? And a lot of emotions. So it's like, how do you really channel these emotions, right? Like, and again, it goes with the law of polarity. Like the situation is, it's like, okay, how are you responding to the situation, right? And with some people, it's even breaking up homes, which is unfortunate, right? But that's why really going inside and deep, like then we got to look at the levels of evolution. You know what I'm saying? That the levels of how we're evolving. Like are we evolving on a lower plane, or are we growing on a higher plane? If you go through tough times and you feel those tough times are going to break apart your relationships or whatever, when it's not even your relationship that's affected, it's more the situation, right? Then that's where you really got to go inside. That's where you that core understanding is important, with you really having the perspective of, okay, how is this positive, and coming in and seeing how you could grow on that side instead of seeing it as negative and kind of go through that downward spiral, right? Because unfortunately, money is a deterrent factor on a lot of people's relationships, on like on a lot of different things, you know what I mean? And right now the government's testing everyone, you know what I mean? Everyone's getting put through the test right now, like how are you gonna put up within this next year? Because in this next year, economists is saying that we're pretty much touching recession, you know what I mean? So but the recession is outside, it's not inside of you, it's outside, right? So now it's very important that inside of us, we really grow internally, right? And and as we do that, we express it outward, so that what's going on outside, it's not really having a huge effect on us inside, right? And as we go inside, we be that co-creator that God has allowed us to be, and we create, our circumstances and our outcomes. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Any final words from anyone? Francisco, you're unmuted. I see that. So you have something to say?
Well, since I'm unmuted, I wanted to mute myself. Well, I just wanted to thank you for the nice session. It was very informative. And we have to think positively. When you think positively, your vibe. Oh, as a matter of fact, there's somebody, I'm not going to mention her name. When she calls me, I said, oh my God, she's going to complain again. And she was telling me that she wanted to really get married to the guy she is dating, but the guy has told her he doesn't want to get married anymore. And I'm saying in my heart, because you're pushing the guy and she likes to complain. She said that the man has already introduced me to his children. If I'd known, I wouldn't have slept with him. I regret, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. I just feel that she's a little bit negative. She needs to be a little bit more positive. So maybe that's why the guy has backed out. Because she likes to complain. Oh, I'm so busy. I have so much work. Blah. And that's what she calls and tells me all the time. So when she calls, I say, oh my God, what am I going to hear again? And the vibration is negative. I feel it. I don't know how to tell her. Richard, you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to mention her name.
Okay.
I don't know. So it's good to be positive. It makes a difference when you're more positive than you are negative. Because when you're negative, it also affects the people who are close to you as well, indirectly or directly.
Yep. That's a fact. Thank you for sharing that, Francisca.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Hilda, Ian, Mylin, chat.
My last words, or not last words because it sounds like I'm about to die. That's crazy. But my last thoughts are just basically stick with people in this, like in the same frequency, just so you can get that boost of, I guess you can call it dopamine, you know? So like this session, for example, for me, like you saying, some people might think it's useful, some people might think it's not. For me, I like to tune in. It's useful. For myself, it gives me some encouragement for the week as well. And then it also gives me a nice mind shift. I did enjoy this session as well because it's very conversational, you know? So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I appreciate the conversation as well, because that's when you really go deep. You know, when we go deep into you know, the format is the format, you know what I mean? But when we go deep, that's when we really get to, you know, take the juice out. That's when we get the juice out, right? And you know, and that's from the contribution of everyone actually giving their insights, giving their stories, giving their, you know, the situation that they're happening, giving their insight, expanding, giving new terms to new things that we're talking about and everything like that. So you know, it's like different things for us to tie together so that we grasp the concept, right? It's just like when you're in class and you're taking in notes, it just reinforces everything in your mind, you know, then to just go and just listen, you know, that's what we're doing. When you participate, now you're a part of it, you know. So thank you so much, Hilda. Chat, I think chat unmuted, no? Ian, final thing to say?
No final words. I did enough talking today.
No, we appreciate you, man. Appreciate everyone that's on here.
Stop making me laugh, Ian. You actually should be talking because we haven't seen you in so long. So
I know, right?
it replaces all those other times. So keep talking, all right?
Yeah, it's been some time, but I'll be back next week. You know, just gotta ease you. I gotta ease in a little bit. You know, I can't just come in here and just start taking all over. But
take over, take over, Ian. Take over.
I miss you guys. You know, it's been long overdue. Yeah, but I'm happy I tuned into the GPS because, like Francesca said, like being around like-minded people, it's almost like it's like a renewal. It's like a renewing of energy. You know what I mean? Like it's restorative. So it's always good. It's always good to tap in, and you know, it's a bit like, you get on these things and like we're laughing, we're having fun, we're making jokes, but we're talking about things that are also progressive. Like it's a lot of positivity going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's blessed. Thank you for that, everyone. Thank you. Have a great week. You know, and let's keep the vibration.
Have a great week, guys.
Yeah. All right. God bless. Have a good night, everyone.